we're going to get into Kings. I just got to ask you real quick. Is there anything, any light you can shed on Draymond Green allegedly punching people?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I was originally already planning on going down to Warriors media availability today. And in fact, about an hour before our guys broke that story, I had texted esteemed Warriors PR man, Ray Ritter, and very casually been, hey, Ray, how are you? Do you have a second to chat? But everything was, it was funny to me on the back end that at the time I had no idea that I was texting Ray in the middle of chaos. And they would soon find out from talking to our people that we had this story coming. Not good for the Dubs at all. I mean, really, really bad in my opinion, because Jordan Poole conceivably was on the verge of signing a pretty lucrative extension. This feels, we'll see what the messaging is when they talk, but it feels very much like the kind of thing that, I could see it compelling a young guy to say, you know what, restricted free agency is looking pretty good. Let me let this thing play out. I'm not sure if I want to play with Draymond for the next 5 years. And then obviously the bigger picture with Draymond, who is so incredible at what he does, and his passion has fueled him for years, but it does occasionally spill over. And obviously it seems like that happened again.
Yeah, I know you'll get way more intel as you go down there today, Sam, but I think there was a report like the Warriors might even look into, I don't know, potential punishments, I guess. I don't know. How do they handle that with Draymond, who has obviously been such a key to what they do, but you can't have guys fighting each other in practice. What do you think they'll ultimately do here?
I mean, as of late last night, the sense I got was that it would not surprise me at all if you were talking about a not even a multiple game suspension, like maybe even a little bit beyond that, which tells you how serious they think it is. So we'll see where they land. But it was, even the wording in our story, because you have people kind of sharing different versions of the event, so you want to make sure you don't sensationalize what happened. But I did kind of, I think we've reached the point, like it's safe to call it was a punch, and I think it hit Jordan pretty good and might have even knocked him down. And so, then you saw, I'm sure, Andre Iguodala jumping on Twitter, and Andre's making his money right away this season, because that's kind of why he's there, right? Is to be the veteran, wise guy, or wise man, I guess. And he tweeted, essentially kind of love for both sides, where he said, we're not going to be speaking ill of Jordan Poole. He's a great character guy. And then with Draymond, that's my brother, and that's in-house. So they're going to have to figure out what this all means, because this is the defending champions again, and they've got a ton to play for.
Sam Amick joining us from The Athletic. I'm most fascinated from 50,000 feet, and now it's philosophy and fun time. But Draymond Green is making $25 million, almost 26 this year. He's got a player option at 27.5. It has been written about, and you have written about this, that Joe Lacob, the Warriors are on the repeater tax. There's some very difficult decisions that they're going to have to make coming up. And oh, by the way, whether it's Kevin Durant or something that, as you mentioned, Draymond Green's wonderful at what he does. This is not the first time he's faced internal discipline. This is not the first time he's gotten into it with a teammate. So in your mind's eye, with him turning 33 in March, could this be perhaps part of what makes the decision easier for Bob Myers, Joe Lacob, and Steve Kerr? And if they got to break up the big three, especially if they want to keep a Jordan Poole, maybe Draymond's the guy to go.
I could see it. I want to, get, like you said, get more insight before having a hard opinion there. But I definitely think the scope of this type of an act is big enough to have that kind of ripple effect potentially. But here's where I would push back the other way, is that, like you just kind of highlighted, Draymond simultaneously with Jordan and Andrew Wiggins are all eligible for these extensions. And the sense had been that Draymond's was not going to get done. He was pretty open about that on media day. And his perspective that he shared that day, and his commentary was really well-reasoned and kind of mature, where he said, I play well in contract years, and that apparently is what this is going to be. Now, it's one thing to say that when you're front facing, you get on the court,
Right.
you see this younger dude who, some chatter that he's moving a little bit differently now that the bag is coming his way. And Jordan and Draymond have some history. They got into it on the court last season. I mean, Jordan is a pretty, just a pretty confident kid, and Draymond obviously has got his swagger. So I could see it happening, but here's where I would push the other way and be worried if I was the Warriors. I definitely get the sense that if Steph Curry was the GM of this team, Draymond would probably have an extension because there's that idea that, like, you almost, I mean, they gave Klay Thompson, his massive deal. And then now you look at it, the optics of it now looks like a legacy contract, right? Where it's like, even though he got hurt for the following 2 years after signing that deal, with everything Klay has accomplished for the organization, nobody is batting an eye at paying him that money. You can make a pretty good argument that even if you're a little unsure about what Draymond's next 4 years look like on the court, that this guy has been so important to what you've done that you can't mess around with that. And I do think that we might learn that all of that stuff played into what's happening right now, because the idea that they're going to, basically decide to let Draymond hit free agency, I could see that absolutely being a tough undercurrent here.
Talking with Sam Amick from the Athletic. Sam, we got a few minutes left. I want to get something at least on the Kings. Last time we talked, the team wasn't all finalized here. So between roster construction, free agency, the draft, coaching changes, what's your outlook? What are some of the other people's outlook on what the Kings have entering this 2022-2023 season?
Yeah, I actually was out there yesterday at practice. Got some stuff I'm looking forward to writing for next week. So got a good sense of it. Great vibe, honestly, like really, really good vibe. And tons of optimism. And as you guys, I'm sure, have been talking about a lot on the show. Sorry, Dave, I'm not listening every single day right now.
Oh, great. Of course not. Shockingly. Go ahead.
It's always like, and I guess this is me being Debbie Downer as a national guy, is kind of like the optimism and the vibe is amazing. That's great. But it's hard to not immediately look at the scope of the Western Conference and just kind of go, oh boy, like, there's a lot of optimism out there right now, and there's a lot of really good teams. So I don't know where they're ultimately going to land, but between Mike Brown and his staff and where they clearly have made headway culturally as far as setting a certain tone internally, that seems to be mission accomplished at this point. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis being the pillars here, Keegan Murray continuing to really kind of amaze and make them feel great about their pick. Those are really good things. The Malik Monk tie-in with the Aaron, shooting galore. The narratives, and they're all legit. Defense being a major point of concern. They're talented, and they're gonna, I think, need to come out of the gate strong, because they are still one of those teams that they haven't built up that confidence. So I think the early stretch is going to matter a lot. And there's a decent amount of buzz about them. In fact, yesterday, one of the PR folks out there even kind of casually mentioned that, their phones are ringing quite a bit with people showing interest in the media in the Kings. So we'll see where it goes, but a lot of things to be excited about.
He may be not existent in the offseason, but he makes up for it during the season. From the Athletic, the one, the only Sam Amick. Sam, welcome back. Appreciate you, and we'll talk to you in a week.
Sounds good, boys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.